Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar Espino. Welcome back to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. It is your host, Cesar Espino, and you can find me at www.CesarRespino.com. Today, I will be doing a solo show, and I want to go over a fundamental principle, an idea that you need to really put into practice to be able to start overcoming challenges and or obstacles in your life. And that is really around a couple of different things, and definitely I'm going to talk about this down the line in different shows. And I've been talking about this throughout the interviews that I had with numerous people in terms of why is it so critical to not only focus on the mind, also to focus on the things that you are saying to yourself and the things that you're saying to other people. So the topic I want to talk to you is why words do matter and how the words that you use can make a difference in anything that you're doing, and can also make a difference when you're trying to overcome a challenge. To begin with, let me start by saying this, and words do matter because it is a way of us to not only program somebody else, it is also a way for us to program ourselves by us listening to the things that we are saying, right? Whether it is projected or is being received, the information that is being given. And so with that, just so you know, there's roughly about 60,000 thoughts per day that are going through our head. That's 60,000 thoughts. That's a lot. Of those 60,000 thoughts, 80% of them are negative, okay? And 95% of them are repetitive thoughts from the previous days, okay? Having that said, when you think about why words do matter, you already have a lot of crap, a lot of those words or thoughts in your head that are negative, and therefore when you're either projecting and or talking to yourself, chances are you're gonna end up extracting one of those thoughts, right? You can be doing something and you're here, instead of giving yourself grace, you're probably talking negative about yourself, or you could say, I could have done this better, right? Or I am dumb, or I am this, or I am that. There's many different things that you can be saying. And so you got to be able to make sure that at the end of the day, you are careful in terms of what you are saying to yourself and or to others. So when you're keeping that in mind about how many thoughts we have at any given point, words do matter, right? There's three different elements that I want you to focus upon. Number one is that your physiology is 63% of your total communication. Your tonality is 30%, and your words are 7% of your total communication, right? So physiology, tonality, and words make up your communication in terms of how you're communicating to other people and or to yourself. And again, 63% physiology, 30% tonality, and 7% words. So you might be thinking, if words are only 7%, why are they so important? You might be thinking maybe they are not important because it's only 7%. On the contrary, because it's only 7%, more so the reason why you got to be more careful as to how you are either talking to yourself and or how you are talking to other people, right? That is when really it makes a big difference. Right. And so I want to go over a couple of words that I believe you need to either start practicing or you need to start taking away from your vocabulary as much as you can. Okay. Now, again, when we're talking about your words are, again, seen in two different aspects. It's projected, meaning that you are projecting to other people when you're talking to them. It could be in a simple communication. It could be in business. It could be with your loved one. It could be to your kids. It could be to anybody. You're projecting the information. The other one is you're receiving. Somebody's talking to you, right? And you're receiving that information. At the same time, you're also talking, when you're talking to yourself, you're in essence receiving that information as you're projecting that out into yourself, right? And so again, not going into too many details because I want to more focus on why words do matter, except when we look at the three components of communication. Physiology is how you stand, how you look, how you are physically, your body is projected when you're saying something, right? If you were to do this right now and you were to kind of be down, feeling like you have no energy, your body is kind of like bunching a little ball, the communication is not as strong as it should be. If you're kind of in this pose like Superman or Superwoman, standing tall and high, then you will see that at that point, that physiology is helping you communicate a lot stronger to whoever you're talking to. Your tonality, it has a lot of variables too, right? How you're speaking to somebody. Are you soft? Are you loud? All of that creates an environment in terms of that. And then again, the words are the things that we're going to be talking about. And I want to go over the different words that you should start removing from your vocabulary. So here are some words that I suggest you start replacing and or start getting rid of immediately. The first thing is try. The word try, T-R-Y, try, right? A lot of times we say, I'm going to try to work out. I'm going to try to see you. I'm going to try to do A, B, C, or D. Try is pretty much, you're pretty much saying either you're probably not going to commit to that, right? Instead of saying try, how about you either do or you don't, right? Be more certain, be more direct. Again, utilizing try, you're giving that other person or even yourself the idea that you're not gonna follow through, right? You're kind of giving yourself a way out of doing something. So either you do or you don't. You're either committed or you're not committed, right? So that's one of the first words that you want to be able to start changing on your vocabulary. The other word is can't, right? C-A-N-T, can't. This is very common when we're faced with many different things in our lives, work, personal, professional, right? We're always looking at, I cannot do this. Or we often say it's too hard for us to do it and therefore I cannot do it. The aspect of this is really comes down to either you don't know how to do it or you don't want to do it, right? It's one or the other. If you don't want to do it, just say, I don't want to do this. If you do not know how to do it, then go out and find out how to do it. This is a very powerful word, can't, because then we limit ourselves on the things that we're capable of doing. Because we feel like we can't means that we don't know how to do it. We do not do the research. We do not ask around. We are not going out and finding the solution for us to be able to do that, right? And so again, get rid of can't. Either you don't want to do it or you just don't know how to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, go out and find out or talk to somebody that can actually help you on how to do that one thing you want to do, okay? But, or however, that you need to just replace that with and, because anything you say before that is being negated, right? It's a negative thought. So if I say, hey, Zoo, I really love the work you did today, but I would like to see it differently, or something to the nature. Well, you pretty much just demoralize that person, Sue, for all the work that she did, right? So instead of saying that, change that frame. Framing is very critical when it comes down to any kind of communication. When you're communicating, you want to make sure you have the right type of frame. So instead of saying but or however, you want to say and, right? An example here could be, I really love the report you gave me, and I think that if you add this and that, it will be much, much better and bigger, or whatever, right? When you say that, guess what? You're not only complimenting the person, now you're also giving them more ideas as to what they can do to make that more powerful, okay? The next word will be no, right? You always hear that, no. No, you cannot do this. No, you cannot do that. This is actually a word that you, if you're talking to a client, even to your spouse or to your kids or anybody at work, instead of right away saying no, which tends to be a negative outcome or could be a defensive mechanism, how about you change that and say yes and, right? By saying yes and, it's kind of the same thing as saying no. However, now you're saying yes and with a frame, a positive frame. So instead of saying, do you want to have Chinese food for today? Instead of saying no, you can say, yes, and I was thinking more Italian food, right? So you're not necessarily shutting that person down completely, or at least they're not going to feel like they're getting shut down completely. um, they're gonna feel like you are agreeing, yet you're giving them an alternative. This is a good way, a good tactic when negotiating, where you can actually uh, show the person you're agreeing, yet you're giving them an alternative, right? So that's another word that I would say definitely start changing the frame. Again, this is all about changing frames. How can you take this to help you in your personal or professional life? And believe me, if you start utilizing some of these words, you're going to be able to start seeing a progress on overcoming obstacles and challenges because of that framing. Okay. The other one, talking about, if you notice, I've been talking about challenges. So the next word is problems or issues. If you think about the word problems or you think about the word issues, automatically that is a defensive mechanism. When you think of a problem or an issue, is something that you do not want to fix, you don't want to deal with, you feel like kind of like down. It's something that you just don't want to deal with. It's something that you just don't want to do anything with, right? Like, I don't want to deal with this. Whereas a challenge, so you want to take a problem or an issue and replace that with a challenge. Whereas a challenge, the human mind, the way that works is like, I like challenges. So therefore, I'm going to look for the solution so that I can solve this challenge, right? So again, you're not having any issues. You're not having any problems. You're having challenges, which you can find the solution, right? You can seek the solution to solve that challenge. Okay, another powerful, powerful word. And the other one that I would suggest you get rid of is hope. I hope that I become a millionaire. I hope that everything works out. I hope that I get this client. I hope that my wife, husband likes what I'm gonna give them. How about instead of hoping, you believe and you have faith, right? Don't hope, have faith. I have faith that I will become a millionaire. I have faith that my boss is gonna like this report. I have faith that what I'm doing for my husband or wife, they are going to enjoy it. It is more certain. You're not hoping or leaving everything to chance. You have faith because you are certain. Okay. So replace hope with faith. Okay. The other word is if. If when you start liking me, if when I win the lottery, if I get the job, if, oh my God, get rid of that. If, again, you're setting yourself for failure. What about when? Be certain. When I win the lottery, when you see the value of this podcast, when I make $1 million, when I become a book author, when I become, uh, I create this huge invention. It's not if, because if, again, is like you're leaving things to chance, is when. So change if to when. Okay. The next word is, instead of asking why, how about you start asking what or how? Okay. Asking why, it depends on the framing too, by the way. Okay, we're talking about framing from the beginning. However, or n, when you're talking about why, you could ask yourself every so often, why, or why would I need to do this, or why would I need to do that? Except if you start asking yourself those things, you're second guessing yourself. So again, it's changing the frame and say, what do I need to do this? How can I do whatever so I can get this outcome? So again, it comes back to changing frame. It comes back to stop second doubting yourself. It comes down to you unconsciously and consciously uh, thinking on how you're gonna be able to get what you want instead of why. Like, why did I deserve this? No, like, I know I deserve this. So what do I need to do so that I can get what I need or what I want? Okay. um, Resolutions or goals. Okay, you have a lot of this actually. New Year's, every time a New Year's, you have New Year's resolutions. A lot of times you talk about goals, and I personally don't like goals or resolutions because a lot of times they are not. People get pumped up. I have goals. I have New Year resolutions. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it never happens. Or you have goals and you also don't follow through. How about instead of having resolutions or goals, you change that to having specific plans and targets, right? I have a specific plan of what I want to do in the next 30 days. I have a specific target that I want to hit, right? With a target, you know what you're hitting, you know where you're aiming at, you know what you need to do. With a specific plan is the same thing as think of you building a house and you have an architect and you have a land and you tell the architect, um, I want to have a house here, right? And then the architect says, okay, well, I have goals that I'm going to build you this house. I'm like, no, screw that. I don't want to know about your goals. Show me the plans. Show me the layout, right? And then give me the target. When are you going to have it done, right? So instead of resolutions and goals, and this could be in anything, right? Start thinking about specific plans and targets. As a matter of fact, when we're thinking about targets, there's something else. I won't go into much detail. When we're looking at specific plans and targets, there's certain things you have to do. Number one, you have to have a specific end goal in mind. What are you aiming for? What is the ultimate goal, right? And that's this big picture. Then you want to be able to take that and you have to have a specific date. By when do you want to complete and have it done? Then you want to take that and you want to chunk it down or you want to break it down into pieces. And those pieces should also have a specific date of completion and it has to be specific as to what you're trying to do. Then you're going to take that and you're going to end up creating, in business, they're called KPIs, key performance indicators, or you want to start creating a measuring tool to measure the performance of those things that you're trying to accomplish by a specific date. Okay, which means that whatever you're creating for yourself, they have to be measurable. They have to be something that you can measure. Why? Because if you are not measuring it, it does not count. You don't know what you're aiming. You don't know what your target is. You're never gonna have that end goal because you're not or target because you don't know what you're aiming towards. So make sure that you have things that you can measure. And the last thing is where a lot of people get hung up is you need to start immediately. Take action right away. Okay, so that's another specific idea. And as a matter of fact, I share this with some of my students that come through my accountability program, or even some of my coaching clients that are looking to set up specific targets or plans in their life, personal or business. We go over this fundamentals and go into detail as to creating that target plan so that they can actually have that in black and white and be able to have something that they can actually hit. Okay. And then there's another one of my favorite ones, and that is worry. Um, we want to change that to wonder. Instead of worrying, how about if you wonder? And what I mean by that is that if you're worrying about the past, there's nothing you can do. That's gone. You cannot change that. If you're worrying about the future that it hasn't even happened, again, you cannot really. If you're specifically worrying about something in the future, you cannot do anything about it. And what that's doing when you worry about the past and you worry about the future is that it is actually affecting your present. Now you're worrying about right now today. So what about instead of worrying, you're wondering? I wonder how things will be in the near future. You cannot wonder about the past, by the way. You can wonder about the future in a positive connotation, in a positive way, right? Don't worry because that's going to bring stress. Wonder about the possibilities, the endless possibilities, the positive possibilities that can come off of that. Okay. Again, if you worry too much about the past and the future, is going to mess up your today. And the only thing we have today that is guaranteed is the now, because tomorrow is not promised. We're here today and we are gone tomorrow. Okay. The next one is doubt. I'm always doubting whether or not people are liking me. I'm doubting whether or not I'm going to do this. I'm doubting whether or not I'm going to show up the way I need to show up for people. How about you stop doubting yourself and just have this determination that I know people are gonna like what I'm giving them in this podcast. I am determined and have this determination that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not doubting anything that I'm doing. I'm determined. I'm certain that I'm doing that. Okay. Again, get rid of all those negative things that you might have on one side and transform them, change the frame to what should be a positive outcome that is going to help you overcome those challenges in your own journey. Okay. Stress. We go through this a lot, and you have seen this time after time where we're just stressing over things that maybe we don't have any control. And I can give you a quick story on that. For me, I've gone through a lot of that. I think when I first came to the States, I was actually stressing over the fact that I couldn't speak to people, I couldn't communicate, I didn't have friends, and I was just stressing over things that I couldn't control. Well, instead of stressing, what about if you surrender? And when I'm talking about surrender, I'm not talking about giving up. You surrender to understand. You surrender to accept. That's what I did when I came here. I said, you know what? Instead of stressing out, I'm just going to surrender to the process. I'm going to surrender to be able to understand. I'm going to surrender to fit in and be able to create the best of what I can from this current situation. So instead of stressing, you want to surrender. Okay. These are some of the words that, in my opinion, you definitely want to really start changing in your vocabulary when you're talking to yourself and or when you're talking to other people. One thing that I'm going to suggest too is that if you're talking to somebody and you catch yourself using some of the words that you shouldn't be using, like I'll try to see tomorrow or whatever the case may be, if you find yourself saying that, go back immediately and auto-correct yourself. So if I'm talking to somebody and say, yeah, I'll try to see tomorrow, and then I catch myself, I'm going to stop immediately and I'm going to say, I will see you tomorrow. What that's doing is you're creating this a pattern interrupt on your brain, and you're saying, oh, hold on, that was not the right word. Scratch that. Here's the new word. And you do that more often. Then as you're doing that more often, you're going to start programming your mind to start using the right type of words when you're speaking to other people. So it's okay for you at the beginning to utilize these words as long as you go back and you autocorrect yourself immediately. Okay. Words do matter. And sometimes these words that you're utilizing, or not actually, sometimes I would say oftentimes, they are going to save you a lot of headaches, whether it's in a relationship, business, or love relationship, is going to make you be more confident, more certain. And so you definitely want to be able to start putting out the right content, not just for you, also for other people, right? And again, even when you're talking to yourself, the physiology, the tonality that you're utilizing is so critical. One thing that I do every day is I look at myself in the mirror and I talk to myself, because at the end of the day, the one person that's going to judge you, or the one person that you need to really impress, is that person in the mirror. And so you got to be able to know how to talk to yourself. I'll give you a quick example on that, right? Sometimes, we give so much great advice to other people, and we will hardly tell somebody, oh, you're dumb, you shouldn't be doing that, or wow, you're stupid, whatever. You're not even calling other people names. You're actually edifying them. You're giving them good advice. So why not do the same thing for you when you're talking to yourself? We are so easy to go talk down to ourselves and call ourselves names, rather than actually speaking to us in a way that is going to edify us and is going to lift us to a different level. Okay? Guys, I'm telling you, you start changing the way you speak to yourself, you start changing the way you speak to other people, you start changing the framing, of your conversations, you're gonna start changing many things in your life. Okay. Jim Brown talks about for things to change, you have to change, right? And so if you start changing how you communicate, if you understand that there's 6,000 thoughts going through your mind and 80% of them are negative, and you recognize that and you realize that if there's 80% of them that are negative and 20% are positive, then how about if I start being more careful and I more conscious of the things that I'm saying to other people and myself. The last thing I will tell you is one way that this can help you too when we're talking about words do matter is you can start doing affirmations. Affirmations are actually going to help you not only to reinforce the words that you should be saying to yourself, it's going to also reinforce the type of conversations that you have with other people. And so creating powerful affirmations can definitely help you out in your own journey. Having that said, I just want to empower you and really engrave in you that how you communicate can make a big difference as to the outcome that you are looking for, right? So my advice to you is choose your words wisely and take into account the words that I suggested for you to start eliminating and or getting rid of your vocabulary immediately. And at the end of the day, if you want to know more about this or you want to know more about my accountability program or even my coaching program where I help people remove limiting beliefs and or also help people clear past experiences and or even people that might have been either toxic or just clearing people in general, please send me a message. You can find me at www.CesarRespino.com. We can get on a 15-minute discovery call where we can see whether or not I can help you. And if I cannot help you, then I can definitely give you some guidance. And also through that conversation, we can discover what are some of the things that you're trying to accomplish and how I can help you through my coaching program, which is my mind coaching program. And or if you want something more in the accountability, again, I also have that. And I have a lot of tools that I can give you from a specific target planning to creating a weekly accountability tracker, and to do a lot of different things that can help you in your own journey. Right now, as of this recording of this video, I am taking 5 more clients. So if you definitely want to get into that, please send me a message, and I can definitely help you with that. Once again, thank you for being here on this podcast show. Stay tuned for some of the next interviews. We're gonna have some great speakers, and you definitely want to listen to the podcast show. Do me a favor, make sure that you subscribe, you like, you comment, and you share, and make sure that you tell everyone to come out and check out the podcast show of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Till next time, have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next. Bye.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you tuned in to this podcast. You can find me at Spreaker.com, where you can like and subscribe. And to learn more about myself and my services, you can find me at www.CesarRespino.com, or you can also find me at Facebook under Cesar R. Espino. Once again, thanks for joining me. I am looking forward to having you at the next episode, and know that you truly can overcome anything.